Hey everybody! You already know that groceries are more and more expensive every day. This is if you can even find what you need. And just like everyone else, I like watching all of the famous chefs on TV. They have ways of turning classic dishes into something that actually we don't know if it tastes good or not. And then they plate it up with all of the little sprigs and twigs they call garnishment to make it look good. But I feel like if I have to buy most of those expensive ingredients with my credit card, spices I've never heard of and usually can't even pronounce, then that's where I draw the line. We're so caught up with how chefs, what's his name or whoever it is, does it that we've forgotten how to cook. We've forgotten how to teach the next generation how to cook. Some changes are good, and some new recipes are excellent, but we need to get back to the basics of cooking. Today, I'm going to share a classic meatloaf recipe. It's simple and it tastes great. You'll need about 2 pounds of ground beef, 1/4 cup of diced onion, 2 cups of breadcrumbs, 2 eggs, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1/4 cup of milk, 1/4 cup of ketchup, and 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Okay, don't judge me. You can't say it either. All right. Now for the breadcrumbs, I use bread that has been previously frozen because it was becoming stale and I didn't want it to waste. Now when you freeze it, because of the moisture from freezing it, you need to put it in the oven for a couple of minutes to dry out, and then that makes for better breadcrumbs that way. If your bread hasn't been frozen, you can put it in your toaster for a minute or in the oven. And then I put mine a couple pieces at a time into a blender, and that makes for really easy, quick breadcrumbs. Now put all of the ingredients in the bowl and tumble and mix the meat mixture until all of the ingredients are incorporated. Just don't over mix it because that does cause the meatloaf to become tough. After you've mixed it thoroughly and you're satisfied with it, put that in your preheated 350-degree oven for about 40 minutes. And then depending on the beef that you use, you may have to drain off some of the grease as I had to do. But actually, the more fat you have in your beef, the more flavor you have. So it's just something to think about. And actually, I baked mine for 40 minutes and then took it out and glazed it and put it back in the oven for 15 minutes. Probably what would have been a better idea is to bake it for 40 minutes, transfer it to a flat, like a cookie sheet, and then glaze it, and then that way when you take it off of that pan, off the cookie sheet, after you've cooked it an additional 15 minutes, you don't have to worry about draining the grease. So okay, after you have baked it for about 40 minutes, go ahead and put your glaze over top. Now the glaze is very easy. You may wish to double it if you like a lot more glaze on the top. I used a 1/2 cup of ketchup, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and 1 teaspoon of butter softened. So now that your meatloaf has baked, go ahead and spread your glaze. Put that back in the oven and continue baking it until done, approximately another 15 minutes. It really just depends on your oven and what size baking pan you use. You're really looking for an internal temperature of at least 160 degrees Fahrenheit. When it's done, let the meatloaf cool in the pan for about 10 minutes. Then carefully remove it to a platter. Enjoy, and I'll see you next time.